WeatherScope.
Good Sunday morning to you. Dan Atkinson here along with Mark Mancuso on a morning when the weather is changing over much of the country thanks to progressive pattern systems moving rapidly from west to east. You've had a little bit of snow in recent hours in New York City, snowing now at Pittsburgh and Cleveland. A little bit of freezing drizzle places like Findlay, Ohio, and Fort Wayne and Jackson, Michigan. But look for improving weather, and Mark will have the details for you.
Yeah, nothing really heavy out there right there in the Midwest, but like you mentioned, a lot of light stuff. There's some slick roads, had some reports outside of Detroit of some accidents, and we were checking in Colorado some pretty interesting weather yesterday.
Yeah.
And some high winds and some recent heavy snow, so if you want to get to the slopes, I-70 is closed, but we're checking on the road conditions. We'll give you updates throughout the morning. Let's start you off with the satellite picture, spin that into motion. As Dan mentioned, it's a very active and progressive weather pattern. And as you can see, we do see a series of storms across the nation here. One headed off the east, another one in the making here in the plains. You see the energy diving down out of the Rockies. This is the same energy that helped to produce those high winds and made for the avalanches in Colorado. Now that energy is moving out into Nebraska and Kansas. But look what's ready to greet it. Yes, the old El Nino enhanced subtropical jet stream. And it does look like a round of heavy rain and possible severe weather returning to the south this afternoon and tonight. And with some marginally cold air in place, there'll be some wet snow on the edge of the storm. Now looking west, another powerhouse system getting ready to slam the west. And right here you can see a lot of puffy clouds there. That's some cold, unstable air. So it does look like northern and central California will feel the worst of this one as this band of significant moisture and cold, unstable air comes on in. So it does look like a very stormy afternoon and evening for northern and central California. Could be some marginally severe storms coming into the Sacramento Valley, and there is potential for some very heavy snow in the Sierra Nevada above 6,000 feet. Could see a couple of feet of snow there. Now, as we take a look at the satellite radar composite, don't see a lot of stuff going on in the lakes in the northeast. Precipitation here very light, dusting to an inch at most, but with a little freezing drizzle thrown in here in the Midwest. Very slick combination. And here we see rain changing to snow now in northeast Kansas, and right here we could see accumulations about an inch an hour coming out of Nebraska, north central Kansas. So from Kansas City to Columbia and just south of St. Louis, looks like you're in for some tough traveling today. To the west, here comes that moist band and the radars out of California and Oregon, just seeing the leading edge of the rain. So this band here has a lot of water associated with it. Checking on the lightning data for it, well, we don't see anything significant happening with our energy in the plains yet. Nothing close to the west coast, but give it time, those storms will return to the west and to the south. A few lightning hits well off the east coast. Looking at the Doppler radar estimates of precipitation the past 24 hours, you can see how any precipitation from the lakes into the northeast has been light, any accumulations on the order of an inch. And here we see our next system dropping rapidly east-southeastward across Nebraska, Kansas, and some light precipitation trying to move into southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. Here's a look at the current weather map, and we do see low pressure developing here in north central Texas. In its wake, some gusty winds, and it should be quite windy here in the southern plains. As mentioned, the air marginally cold for some wet snow on the northern fringe of this storm here. Notice these temperatures, Kansas City and St. Louis and Nashville, even Atlanta here, and right on over to Raleigh, hovering right there in that low to mid-30s corridor. So this will be the zone that we'll be looking for rain and wet snow. Adding in the winds, wind chill's a little bit low here in the northeastern United States. Feels like one in Boston. And there you can see the temperature change the past 24 hours, showing you the trend of some cooler air coming on down to Chicago and Des Moines. Now as we close in on the northeast, 26 in Boston this morning, 33 in New York City, a little light snow in the air in the Big Apple. Albany is 18 degrees. To the west in Detroit, it's 28, freezing drizzle just outside of town. And again, as we add in the winds, you can see the wind chill makes it feel very uncomfortable in Boston. It feels like one. Very light snow in the air. We could see a dusting or so. Here in the south, it's 30 in Atlanta, kind of a crisp morning with high pressure overhead. Chicago's cold, Des Moines cold, Sioux Falls pretty chilly too. And as we head our way west, 35 in Denver, and the weather pretty tranquil. Now your forecast, and here's Dan with an update.
And thank you, Mark. We take a look first at the Sunday forecast, and we will find still some snow for you across the Great Lakes, but nothing of any significance, and extending on over to the northeast as well. Precipitation heavier as low pressure taps into Gulf moisture and begins to spread rain across the lower Mississippi Valley. And look for that upper level disturbance along with this cold front to continue to produce some snow for you at places like Kansas City on through St. Louis. And that snow area will be tracking on toward the east-southeast through time as high pressure retreats. That snow by daybreak should be getting into the southern Appalachians, as we'll see. The next system pushing in from the Pacific Northwest with snow levels starting out around 4,000 feet in the Cascades, 7,000 feet in the Sierras, and dropping rapidly as the cold, unstable air sweeps in from the Pacific. Early evening on Sunday, we'll be finding the rain spreading on across northern Alabama. Could be some heavy rain at times, particularly